Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
Ken Ofori-Atta refused American lawyers' advice to return to Ghana. Oh my God. Now, who is Ken Ofori-Atta? Former finance minister of the Republic of Ghana. Kenneth Kununku Ofori-Atta. This is the man we are talking about. In fact, his father was a deputy finance minister in the regime of Buzia. So growing up, all his mind was that he must also be a finance minister. His father was called Jones Ofori-Atta, coming from the loins of Sir Ofori-Atta, who himself had 44 wives and a number of children and grandchildren. His mind had always been that he must also be a finance minister. This is Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, he was finance minister of the Republic of Ghana. And in the last year of the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, there was a big clamor. It was like an earth tremor. They wanted him out. Mute Sir Ofori-Atta. Silence Sir Ofori-Atta. This is the man we are talking about. He had become the kingpin of the finance department and ministry. He had become the go-to man for everything finance. And Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo believed in him so much. Even when his own MPs came to him and told him, you know what? Censure this man here called Ken Ofori-Atta. Nana Addo did not want to hear that. Finally, when the pressure mounted so much, Nana Addo slapped everybody in the cringing brows. He decided to promote this man. And then they brought in somebody else to become finance minister. And that was Mohammed Adam Amin Anta. The economy was terrible. They had gone all the way to the IMF to borrow $3 billion American dollars. And the IMF guys gave that to us in tranches and ordered us to take some decisions to be able to shaping back our economy. And part of those things included the so-called DDEP. Pensioners who had worked so hard for the country and were now in retirement in the comfort of their homes were pulled back into action after they were denied their money. They had to go, some of them in wheelchairs, to the finance offices to picket. Many died. Ken Ofori-Atta did not have any conscience, no heart of passion beating inside him for all these people who went down the drain because of their silly policies and carelessness in handling the economy. Now, when Ken Ofori-Atta was taken out finally, and a new finance minister was brought on, nothing changed much. But at least Ghanaians were happy that he was censured, muted, totally silenced. We asked him to resign. He said no, he would not resign. He was not even taking salary. Little did we know that all the loans that he was getting into the country, he was actually getting commission via his data bank. My brother, my sister, he tried to explain to us, confuse us with economic terms and finance terms, but the average Ghanaian only listens to his pocket when it comes to such explanations. He told us he was ill. He flew all the way to the West because he had a penchant for Western doctors. He never believed in any Ghanaian doctor. COVID, when he returned, he came back with a puffy face because he had an inflated liver. But even with that, he still returned to the office in the service of the country in quotes. Only God knew exactly what he was benefiting by not trying to leave that office. Then he was hit again with another set of sicknesses and illnesses. And he had to return to his doctors right there in the West. This time around, he went to America as usual. Also traveled to England after some time. And according to him, he had prostate cancer. And the doctors were taking care of him. He refused to return home. He believed that he would be tormented, harassed politically should he return home. Come here. Now, Ken Ofori-Atta refused to come home. And then the office of the special prosecutor started a big argument with the office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. They wanted to have him extradited into the country. And therefore, the OSP had to present certain documents. OSP was slow in presenting those documents, claiming that it is an autonomous body, independent, and the Attorney General said, well, my office is the only office mandated by law to present those papers, and I am not presenting any papers that are not up to the task. Well, they came down their high horses, dealt with the documents, and bam, the documents were dispatched. Remember, we told you first, right here, that, oh yes, the Attorney General was working behind the door to be able to bring Ofori-Atta. How many of us remember this? Now, the Attorney General had complained right there in the vineyard that the OSP had only written English, Shakespearean English, and not law. And therefore, the office of the Attorney General did not believe in what the OSP was sending to the Americans, even though it had been looked at to some extent. So what did they do? Though they presented the papers, they sat back and tried another plan. But before then, now we are told that the Attorney General himself and his office and some other people had started investigating Ken Ofori-Atta long before the office of the special prosecutor even presented any document. And today, my brother, my sister, we have all the exclusives, and we're going to go into them one after the other. Now, we all have heard that Ken Ofori-Atta has been arrested. Remember, we told you how he was arrested. When many people thought that his visa had expired, we told you it was an issue of the status. Today, my brother, my sister, we have more detail into this story. Ken Ofori-Atta has actually been arrested. How was he arrested? As simple as that. Now, far away in June, the Attorney General and his office decided that Ken Ofori-Atta must return home. He must return home because of A, B, C, D, E, F. A lot of issues he needed to come home and answer to, including some offshore issues, which the Attorney General told us the other day that was inconclusive. The lawyers kept playing mind games with the people of Ghana. Oh, he will come today. Oh, he will return tomorrow. Oh, he's sick. His doctor says this. Finally, they told us that we had to interrogate him over the fence. Zoom. And we made it clear that nobody interrogates a thief over the fence. My brother, my sister, Ken Ofori-Atta made up his mind that he was not returning to Ghana. Can I tell you more? Watch this now. Now, remember we told you first time here that Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyer was a former Attorney General of the United States of America, John David Ashcroft. And we ran his dossier for you the other day. He's a very smart lawyer, a lawyer who is well sought after. He's also a professor of law. In fact, in the university that he taught, they instituted an award program in his honor. He is a Christian who attends the Assemblies of God Church. He's also a singer in the church. And he has composed and recorded a very powerful patriotic song for America. This is a man who is in almost everything important, from law all the way through to religion, spirituality, philanthropy, and even more. This is John David Ashcroft. He was Attorney General of America from 2001 all the way to 2005. He was also a senator. This man has seen it all. A very good friend of our own Attorney General. And I'm talking about Dr. Dominic Akuritinga-Ayine. Now, when Ken's issue came, and the Attorney General started investigating the issue before the OSP, in fact, he got in contact with this man. They were talking about this issue, how they could get this man extradited to come and face justice. Then the OSP's extradition thing too came, and it even made it heavier. Dr. Dominic Akuritinga-Ayine now got in contact with the man and some other people discussing how Ken Ofori-Atta could be extradited into the country. And this man here was talking to the nation. He was giving his services to our nation. They were talking. Remember, Dominic Akuritinga-Ayine is a Stanford lawyer. He went to school in America. So some of these people are his colleagues. But all of a sudden, when Ken Ofori-Atta realized that there was a certain kind of extradition attempt, he decided that no, he will fight his case. And when he got to know that the man responsible was John David Ashcroft, bam, he went and contacted him. We've given you all these details. Time now to tell you what you haven't heard yet. Now, as it stands right now, the government of Ghana, led by Dr. Dominic Akuritinga-Ayine, may be going to court against John David Ashcroft for double standards and conflict of interest. You were working with the government of Ghana to extradite Ken Ofori-Atta. All of a sudden, you are Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyer. Wow. That is very fishy, isn't it? But money talks. Ken Ofori-Atta doled out a lot of money to hire the services of John David Ashcroft, a former Attorney General of America. Now look at what happened. What many people do not know is this. When Ken Ofori-Atta approached John David Ashcroft, he said, "Sir, I need you to defend me. I don't want to return to Ghana. And I know that you are working with my people in Ghana to bring me home. What would it take? Tell me what your fees are. Get the best lawyers in America that you trust so that my case never fails. Just give me the budget." And boom, the budget was given to him. Big amount of money. And they were able to get 13 lawyers put together, including John David Ashcroft, as we were told. Now see the next thing that happened. At this point, the Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Dominic Akuritinga-Ayine, did not know that all these things were happening. And he kept talking to John David Ashcroft. Yes, Ashcroft. Talking to him. So the extradition, how far? How do we go about this? You are American and I need you to support us to be able to bring this man. How quickly can we do this? It was at that point that John David Ashcroft went back to Ken Ofori-Atta and told him, "You know what? I have spoken with my colleague, Dr. Dominic Akuritinga-Ayene, and he has promised me that they will give you a very safe entry into Ghana. You will not be harassed. Nobody is going to torment you. You would have a very fair trial. I trust that guy. He's a very good friend of mine. Please, you have a good case. We will get the best lawyers to defend you in Ghana. Please, sit in the next plane and return to Ghana. And what did Ken Ofori-Atta say? Come here. Ken Ofori-Atta said, never. Go back to which Ghana? I am not going back to Ghana today. And I'm not going back tomorrow. I want to stay here. And I've paid you to be able to make sure that I remain here in Ghana. All this while, Attorney General Ghana and former Attorney General USA were just talking about extradition, how to get Ken come home. And former Attorney General US was talking to our Attorney General about how the man could have a safe entry and a very fair trial. But when Ken said no, he wasn't coming, John David Ashkoff now had to speak a different language. When he called Dominic Akuritinga-Ayene this time round, he wasn't talking about safe entry, safe passage, fair trial. He said, listen, man, I am now representing the same guy we have been talking about all this while. That was when Dominic Akuritinga-Ayene was brokenhearted. Wow. All this while, we've been talking about bringing this man home. We have collaborated. Now he's your lawyer? Oh, this is conflict of interest. This is sad. He said, well, you know how the way goes. And that ended the conversation. But Dominic Akuritinga-Ayene was smart. He had gone back door, started talking to the Americans again. And this is exclusive. Watch this. Now, do we all know that America has a military base in Ghana or not? We know, right? And it's been here for some time now. Now, the recent strikes in Nigeria against Boko Haram and some people who were tormenting Christians in that country, a lot of the strikes started from Ghana. The planes were flying from here. Missiles were thrown from here into Nigeria with the collaboration of these countries, Nigeria, Ghana, America. My brother, my sister, this kind of camaraderie, yes, camaraderie, my brother, my sister, friendship was on between America and Ghana. So all the authorities in Ghana had to do was to just call and say that, you know what, we have this beautiful relationship. FBI can come into our country, pick 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a military base here. We allow you to be able to do things. We collaborate and do things. Please, we want that guy, Ken Ofori-Atta. And the American people said, okay, we will do it. So now, Dominic Akuritinga-Ayene bypassed John David Ashkoff and went for a more powerful force, the FBI, and the rest of all these agencies. Come here. And this is where the story even gets hotter and sweeter. The Americans couldn't say no. Because they have a military base here, they have a strong collaboration with Ghana. And to wait for the extradition was going to be lengthy. So, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice foresaw that the extradition would be lengthy. So he quickly asked the American people to find a way of bringing this man home. And he gave them some reasons and some other things he was investigating. Just make sure he comes home. This was in June. In July, the Americans revoked the visa of Ken Ofori-Atta. And when they revoked it, they cancelled it, they nullified it, depending on what term you want to use. They called him and said, sir, your visa has been revoked. And he said, why? He said, it has been revoked. The fact that you have a visa does not guarantee you stay in America. We have looked at a few things you are doing, and we think that you have breached the laws of this country. Please, you have up to November, the last week of November, to leave. Ken was confused. They called him and spoke to him. He started to shiver. His visa was supposed to expire on the 14th of February, the following year, 2026. Now the American people are calling me to tell me that I have up till November to leave. Hey! Ken spoke to the lawyers. Now, John David Ashcroft could no longer get back to Dominic Akuritinga-Ayine because of the supposed break. You could call it betrayal. He couldn't get back to him. So Ken was now hot. But the lawyers asked him again, are you sure you don't want to return to Ghana? And anytime they asked him that, he got more angry. It's okay. Can you get anybody to file for you to stay in this country? It might be long, but we will try and see how it could be sped up, and then we'll tackle other issues. That was when Ken's son, Kenneth Ofori-Atta, his son, came into action, and his name is Nana Ofori-Atta. We are told this is his photograph. We cannot independently verify this. My brother, my sister. And he was born on the 8th of March 2001. So that gives him about 25 years. He's an American citizen, Ken's son. And he filed for Ken to have permanent residence in America. That is the truth. So what Martin Pebu and the rest have been talking about, that the lawyers are trying to deny, this is the truth. Ken's son, Nana Ofori-Atta, born on the 8th of March in 2001. And I'm looking at his American passport as I'm talking to you right now. We are not permitted to put it out. This guy filed for his father to stay in America permanently. It's a long process. They started working on it. He decided that he would not leave. He refused to listen to his lawyers, who told him the best thing to do is to leave this country, go to Ghana. Dominic Akuritinga-Ayine has promised safe passage and a very fair trial. We will also be in Ghana to support you. We'll get the best lawyers to support you. But Ken said, no, I don't want to hear that. That's not what I paid you for. I paid you to keep me in this country. You can't change the rules in the middle of the game. Now, with Dominic Akuritinga-Ayine on one side and John David Ashcroft on the other side, who now will not be able to collaborate legally to deal with this issue, little did they know that the Ghanaian people had gone back door to talk to their collaborators in America. Now, visa has been revoked. You have up to November to go. But the lawyers knew they will not be able to finish this case before November. They advised Ken to go home. He said no, he wouldn't. And listen to the interesting thing. Ken was supposed to be picked up on the 4th of January. For some reason, they were lurking around the house. ICE where he lived in Washington, D.C., as we are told. My brother, my sister, the Westlight apartments, very luxurious apartment. That was where he was living. And according to Manasseh, who has given us more information, in fact, Kamala Harris used to live in this apartment too. She had a 2-bedroom house in there. And when she was picked as the vice president of America, she decided to vacate the place, and she actually auctioned it for an arm and a leg over $1 million American dollars. It's a celebrity house. This was where Ken was living. And he lived exorbitantly. You may say, with our money. But that was where he was. His family visited him there. He stayed there. Everything is in this apartment. When they went there on the 4th, it looked like he was not at home. He had gone elsewhere. But ICE continued to keep an eye on the building for 3 days. The 4th, the 5th, it was on the 6th. They saw him around. And boom, they jumped into him and held him and handcuffed him. Soon, we will release the real photographs of him being handcuffed, the real one, not the AI version. When we get the go-ahead, we shall put that out. But for the time being, he was handcuffed. And they marched him straight into a van, drove him for about 90 kilometers away to Virginia, where they put him in the Caroline detention facility. My brother, when Ken went in there and saw the condition of the dormitory, remember I said dormitory. So from mansion to dormitory, where he was supposed to share with some other such people, maybe some Nigerians, Cameroonians, Togolese, running away from the American immigration. He looked at it, looked at the area, nowhere to cook his own food. He would have to eat prison food. That small shack, very terrible place. They hoped that Ken will come back and tell them, you know what, I want to self-deport. But no, he decided to stay in there. My brother, my sister, he decided that he would stay and fight his case. The lawyers still approached him, spoke to him. Please, get to Ghana. Let us get to the best lawyers. He's not ready to hear that. He wants to stay in America and fight his case. As we are speaking right now, he is very, very traumatized. A man who is used to luxury. A man who has chefs all over him. There's a different chef on Monday, another one on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday when he goes to church and returns, it's a whole dinner for a king. Now, there's one chef who serves the whole prison at a time. The detention center. He's very uncomfortable. Ken Ofori-Atta. Is he going to self-deport? He doesn't want to hear that from the mouths of the lawyers. But the Ghana embassy, as usual, decided to go there. And the ambassador of Ghana to America is Victor Smith, my own very good friend. He went all the way to the place to meet with Ken. And when Ken was told that the Ghana embassy was there, he said he would never meet the Ghana embassy without his lawyers. He wasn't ready. He's not ready for anything Ghana. Even if they put him in fire in America, he prefers that to heaven in Ghana. He will not go anywhere. So, Enayat, full name, Enayatullah Qasimi, originally from Afghanistan, where he himself had his own issues. That's one of his lawyers, is defending him. He's one of the lawyers handpicked by John David Ashkoff. This is Inayet. Yes, Inayat Kasimi. His full name is Inayatullah Kasimi. He's Afghan, but he's in America because of some issues and all that. We won't go too much into his life, but they are both talking to Ken to just accept to self-deport. But he's still saying no. He won't see any Ghanaian. He's embarrassed that he is in a detention center like that. My brother, my sister, the Attorney General gave us a bit of this information. This is to confirm all that we have been telling you all this while. Remember, we're first to tell you who Ken's real lawyer was and the number of lawyers he had gathered. Remember that we told you much more. Listen to the Attorney General, and when we return, we will tell you something that you have not heard in this trial. Watch this.
Well, okay, so you know that even from day one, I didn't make this public, but I started investigating Ofori-Atta, all right? In fact, in his case, I'm doing it with, some foreign investigators that are tracking, all the offshore dealings and so on, all right? And then, of course, we are also doing our own investigations here. They are inconclusive as we speak. We have not, come to any conclusion. So
this is different from the SML.
It's different, totally different, and
okay.
and potentially mind blowing. But I that I will not, give any details at this point in time. So I started working with the Americans in respect of Ofori-Atta long before OSP, came up with their announcement. Yeah, I started working with them, and I want Ghanaians to know that he just didn't overstay his visa. The visa was actually revoked. So it's not that Ofori-Atta, overstayed. So in July, the American government revoked, the State Department revoked his visa, all right? And they gave him up to November 29th of 2024 to leave the United States, okay? He did not. And then that is how come that they, decided they were going to now pursue him, and arrest him. Actually, the arrest was supposed to occur on January 4th, and they did not do so. But on Tuesday, January 6th, they, apprehended him, in the Virginia area and took him into custody.
You're saying this is not exactly about immigration?
Yes, it's not exactly about immigration.
His visa is not actually, his visa is not expired.
No,
it
was revoked. The visa was revoked. I am telling you this on authority. All right. The last meeting that I had with the American authorities was just 3 days ago.
His lawyers say here in Ghana say this is just a standard process.
No, it's not. It's not a. They want to give it that a twist, to make it look like there is nothing wrong. But of course, the extradition request that I sent was in respect of the OSP.
Yes, the SML matter.
Yes, but I have been working with the Americans diligently on him, and the visa was revoked, and that is how come that he lost his immigration status in the United States.
Explain to me, visa is revoked on account of you investigating him?
Something I wouldn't want to give any details, because we speak with in confidence with the Americans, but this is something that I can publicly confirm, that a visa was revoked.
So in respect of his extradition, are your lawyers in America to assist the state as the Department of Justice? As we understand, there's supposed to be some 2 lawyers from your place, 2 lawyers from the OSP or so, to go and help the Americans who prosecute the case in the American courts.
Normally, we don't send our lawyers. We don't send our lawyers. We are represented because we make the request to the American authorities. So just like here, when they make a request, my office, mostly led by, my deputy, Justice Srimsai, goes to court, my lawyers go to court, and they represent the interests of the United States of America.
That's right.
And they do all the arguments, and then when, they persuade the judge grants the extradition request, and then, we extradite the person. It is going to be the same. So you see, when I said that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta had hired top lawyers in America to argue his case for him, and that is not going to be an easy battle trying to bring him home. People thought that I was going to the United States to face his lawyers there, and I was afraid. I'm not afraid. Paul Adomochiri did a show here where he said a Stanford lawyer, and you are afraid of lawyers in America. I'm not afraid of them.
He's not the only one who was unhappy.
No, but nobody ought to be unhappy, because John Ashcroft, the former attorney, general of the United States of America, all right, called me and said he was the one representing, Ken Ofori-Atta in the matter. But his concerns, that the reason he called me was for me to assure him that when Ken is returned to Ghana, all right, he will get a fair trial. And I assured him of the fact that under this government, and in accordance with Article 19 of the Constitution, his right to a fair trial is guaranteed. No one is going to, Ken Ofori-Atta is not he's not the person that will come here and we're going to treat him very shabbily and so on and so forth. He will be accorded due process of law. His fair trial rights will be guaranteed and so on. So I talked with John Ashcroft, but at the time, I could not, including the lawyer, the lawyer who granted the interview.
That's right.
So there were three lawyers who spoke to me via, a Zoom on that day when they were expressing concerns. Okay. So at that point in time, it was confidential. I could not mention John Ashcroft as his lawyer. All right. But I was simply saying that when you take the fact that he has these top lawyers coming to court in America to defend him, it is not going to be a day's work to bring him home.
That's
because he will appear before in this current matter. He will appear before an immigration judge. All right, on January 20th, he's appearing before an immigration judge.
Right.
He has a right to appeal that decision to a district court.
Right.
From the district court, he can go to a circuit court of appeals.
Yes.
Then from there to the United States.
Well, you heard Dr. Dominic Akuritinga Ayene saying the same things that we said before and even now. Now, information reaching me is that Ken Ofori-Atta has become so uncomfortable in detention, and everything is pointing to one direction, that he's returning home. Lawyers have advised him over and over to return home. He said no. Ghana embassy has gone there over and over. He said, no, I will not meet you without my lawyers. He's bent on living in America and never returning to this country. Maybe until his party comes back into power 1,000 years after. But the conditions in the prison, a man who is used to luxury, a man who is used to a good life, it looks like from conversations he's having around, he wants to risk it all and come to Ghana. With the support of his American lawyers and Ghanaian lawyers, he hopes that he will be able to fly higher. But my brother, I need to remind you, this has nothing to do with the SML issue, Strategic Mobilization Limited. It has nothing to do with the OSP's extradition. It has all to do with a whole new investigation tagged the Ken Ofori-Atta offshore investigation. And when he arrives, according to what the Attorney General has said, is going to be mind-blowing. The SML is a joke. The bigger thing is the offshore thing. And details will start coming in. And you know where to get all these details. Right here This is the voice of the nation, the voice of the continent. Whatever we say here is the gospel. Long before you hear it formally, this is where it breaks. To Ken Ofori-Atta, come home and face karma. Your children are asking that you return home. If you are clean, we are all ready to support you. Ghana is not a country that torments people. It doesn't witch hunt politicians. No. We have reached a certain point of democracy where we all are excited to say you will have a fair trial. And Ghanaians are standing on the periphery, watching anything that goes on that is bad. People are going to hit the streets and demonstrate. But it looks like Ken himself is not sure of where he's going. Maybe he has more dirty linen in his closet. Where ICE decided to go and put him, if you had the opportunity to see real photographs and videos, the man is mostly uncomfortable. He sits in a corner reading a book that I suspect is the Bible. When others are there playing games and all that, no. He sits in a corner and most of the time he's praying. Can I tell you one other thing before we leave? He was arrested on Tuesday, the 6th. Monday was the 5th. Sunday was the 4th. You now understand why ICE was not able to get him at home. Sunday, church. He was in church. And when ICE arrived, trying to arrest him, he was already gone. And probably a few hints came around, or he just decided to stay outside the house for a couple of days. At least the church saved him for 2 days. And when he returned, bam, is the black pot, aka Kukushonemo, where we speak truth to power.
PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.